So the elusive KP-9, or the Vityaz as the Russians call it. I got my hands on the KP-9 from KUSA a couple years ago as a Christmas present from my dad. The carbine spent a lot of time just sitting on the shelf, so to speak, not really having anything done to it, and it stayed stock for quite a while. But finally, I'm completely and 100% finished with my build, and I thought I'd show it to you guys. I think it came out pretty well. So, like a Rantham does, we'll start from tip and go to butt. So on the front, here's an Omega 9K from Silencer Co. We just got this approved the other day and slapped it on there, and I've sent a few rounds downrange with it so far. It's an extremely quiet can for the size, and it makes the KP-9 an extremely quiet platform with subsonics. So I'm a big fan of that. We took off, of course, the stock muzzle device that's usually on there. It's like a compensated style, brake style muzzle device that just screws off. So that's nice. And we just replaced it with the Omega 9K, of course. Now, right below that, you'll notice that we've got a Streamlight TLR1 HL, and this is the rifle mounted kit. I got this from Amazon with the pressure pad on top, you can see, and I mounted it on a extended Picatinny rail mount that I had to actually cut. Excuse my cat here. That I actually had to cut a little bit for it to fit flush with the suppressor. I'll see if I can get a good view of that for you guys, but you might be able to see that the front right here is cut and painted, well, that's Sharpie, I won't lie to you, a little bit, so that this Silencer Co. Omega 9K can fit flush onto the base of the barrel here, and it doesn't interfere, or rather, the mount doesn't interfere with the suppressor. So I got that from Amazon. My dad helped me grind that down for it to be able to fit flush, and then of course we mounted the TLR1 on there, and we got the pressure pad on top. Next on the list here, we've got the KUSA Picatinny rail handguard. I don't know what they call it on their website, but essentially it's an M-lock handguard that comes with Picatinny rails on the top and on the bottom, and then you have optional Picatinny rails that you're able to mount to the M-lock on either side. So we went ahead and did that, and I like the Picatinny rails style look. I had the Picatinny rails off for a while, and I just had the M-lock on there, and I didn't like the look of it. KUSA's got their logo plastered on it all over the place for some reason. As we know, that didn't help them very much in their case, so no real point in that, I suppose. But aside from that, then I mounted the Magpul RVG on the bottom, but I decided to cut it, of course, because this is a pistol after all. We'll get to the brace in a second, but this is a pistol, so you can't have a full length vertical grip on there, so I cut it, and now it is a angled foregrip, and we are in compliance with the law as far as I know. Working our way back a little bit, we've got the Zenit Co. extended charging handle. Now, I didn't know how these designs worked at first, and it turns out there's just CNC machined aluminum on the inside here, and then there's a case that slides on top, which is the black part that you see, but underneath is this polished aluminum, or this raw aluminum that's cut to sandwich around the charging handle, and then the case goes on top, and there's some fasteners on either side that you screw in. Now, these have walked out on me a little bit, I won't lie, and after about 90 to 120 rounds, they decided to come out, and the whole extended charging handle was basically ready to fall off, unfortunately. So I did have to put some Loctite in there, which is no big deal, but I just thought that was worth mentioning. Love this charging handle though, it's way better than stock. I would never leave this thing with the stock charging handle. It's just not enough to grab onto, especially since you have to charge the weapon so much. It's nice to have this, especially with gloves or something like that. Now, farther back, you'll notice I have the extended Krebs safety on here, which is very nice. It's much better than having to reach your entire finger up here, hit the safety like that. Much better to be able to be right here. Similar to, manipulating an AR-15 safety. You don't have to move so far. You don't have to take your hand off the weapon so much, and you don't have to be all the way up here. You can just be right here. Again, it's great, but I've noticed one issue. I have to apply a lot of force to get the safety manipulated, at least in the down position or the off position. But once it's down, I can move it up pretty easily. Like I said, though, it takes quite a bit of force to push it down, which I guess is not bad, but I expected it to be a little easier. So I did bend the charging handle out a little bit, and I messed with it. And hopefully the tolerance is a little bit better now. I think it is, but I can't really remember too much of what it was like before. It was difficult, though. We got a hollow sun with a 1/3 co-witness standard mount on it. I mean, I don't see any problem with Holosuns. I'm not spending $1,000 on an endpoint T1 or a T2. Just not going to happen. Holosun serves me just fine. I turn the optic on when I need it, and it's off when I don't. I don't really care. Change the batteries out at Christmas, just like I do with all my other optics. Whatever. I'm going to turn this over actually before I get to the stock, and I want to show you that I have here for the sling. I have, first of all, a Picatinny rail mounted sling loop right here, and attached to it is my Haley Strategic Slim Sling, I believe it's called, with these U-loops that you can buy from their website that you can attach to your sling. Now I thought that was the best option rather than getting like QD sockets or something like that, just because this is such a small platform. I don't really need this crazy sling for this rifle. A slim sling works just fine. I bought it at the same time as I bought my D3 sling for my full-size carbine, so I figured this was a good choice. On the back, we have that wrapped around the JMac Customs brake with the integrated folding mechanism, which I will add is extremely hard to fold. I can't even do it with one hand. The tolerances are very, very tight, and there's probably some shaving I need to do, but I'm assuming that over time this will wear down enough with enough presses, which I believe it already has, but I'm having some difficulty with it at the moment. But mounted behind that is, of course, the Gearhead Works tail hook, which is an awesome brace. This is actually the brace technically, and this is the receiver extension or whatever you want to call it, but the tail hook is sweet, man. It's super solid. I've never used like a SP Tactical brace or any plastic braces before, but this thing is sweet, super solid. Might as well be a stock. Don't come for me, ATF. I do have a dog. Yeah, and then all I did is I wrapped some goon tape around the stock pistol grip as well. I didn't see the need to change it out. I do have a K2 AK grip from Magpul that I could have put on here, but it's tan and I'm not going to paint it. So I decided to leave this, and I wrapped this around here, the grip, and it's awesome. It works perfectly well. I do like the grip a bit, quite a bit. It could be better, but I do like it. Maybe I'll swap it out for like a Tango Down or a Zenico or something like that. And then I'm running the stock magazines. I do have some other magazines, some Russian surplus ones that I got from akstuff.com, who, by the way, is a great resource. I spoke to the owner about the magazines, and he's an awesome guy, and the magazines work great. You can cut those down actually to be 20 or 10 rounders if you want, but I haven't felt the need to. Anyway, these work perfectly fine. I prefer the KUSA mags, I think, at this point. I have to use the other ones a bit more, but unfortunately you can't get these anymore because KUSA is now out of business. So there's no way for you to buy these unless you can find them aftermarket for like, insane scalping prices. So your only bet if you have one of these is to go with these surplus Russian mags, which again work just fine and probably better than these mags if I had to guess, but I'll put some more rounds through it and we'll find out eventually. Yeah, overall I love this thing, man. It's awesome. I know it's not like the traditional PCC like in a 9mm AR, or it's not even an MP5 or anything like that, but I think it's got a super nice cool factor. It's that FSB Spetsnaz look to it, which I really like. I like AKs a lot. I like the Russian aesthetic. I like the Eastern Bloc aesthetic a lot. And I like my MP5s too, and I like my Western aesthetic and my NATO aesthetic as well. I'm just a big fan of this. And you don't see a lot of them around either. That's the big thing too. You see a lot of ZP5s or ZF5s or MP5s or SP5s, whatever. You see those around all the time. You don't see a lot of these, at least built out the way that I have it, I think. So I don't know, man. If you think I did a good job with this, let me know. I think it's got a nice cool factor to it. And if you think it looks stupid and you don't like AKs, you can let me know too. But I'm a big fan of this thing, and if you can get your hands on one still, I would highly recommend it. I'm glad I got one when I could. Well, my dad got it for me when I could. What can I say? Yeah, I'm a big fan. I don't know what else to say. I love this rifle. I love this PCC, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope you maybe got some inspiration for your own build, or if you can get your hands on one of these, you should pull the trigger.